What was that? I don't know. Hi. Hello, and welcome to the Tequila Hour. My name is Amanda. Right now, I am in Bali, Indonesia. Yeah, I'm not in the studio. Shocking, I know. I've never recorded live from an open location using a microphone like this, so it could sound horrendous or it could be fucking awesome. I don't know. I'm going with it. If you don't like it, just fuck off. No. Hi. Yes, you would probably understand that this is very nerve wracking for me because I've never done it before like this. Normally, I am safe and sound, tucked away in my studio, just relaxing. My arm's getting tired, by the way, because I'm using an iPhone. Uh, yeah, so not only are I recording on a camera, but also using a microphone that I've never used before. So, like I said, bear with me. I will do my best, and that is all you can do. Now I've got nothing else to say. No, just joking. You know what? I am currently on a TrovaTrip tour with the Sam Squad, or Sam Squad. If you don't know what that is, it is a group that has come together with Samantha March, who's a YouTuber, someone I've followed for a long time. And I will probably dedicate, not a lot probably, I will dedicate a whole podcast to just the trip itself. But today I just wanted to really, I don't know, create a podcast about surrender. And why I'm doing that is because as I put my phone down, and this could be a terrible angle, and guess what? I don't care. No, I do care. I am doing this podcast today because really I am stretching myself more than you may or may not know. If you don't know me, this is not something that I just casually do every single day and own that shit and are very comfortable. And I mean, I'm comfortable at home because I can control the narrative, and I'm in a safe space and no one can hear me. Right now I'm in a public bar upstairs, no one's around me, but I feel, I was going to say emotional. I actually don't feel emotional. I feel fucking proud of myself, mate. It was something, this trip, I wanted to do for a long time, and to be honest, I was even going to back out of it up to a week ago, not knowing if I was really sure about going. For me, not only travelling overseas, but to a country like Bali, which I know as an Australian, yes, shit ton of Australians come over here and enjoy themselves and have a jolly good time, and we've all heard the stories, but I'm not a seasoned traveller. I don't, jaun around the world and do this kind of thing, let alone record my own podcast in a public place such as this. So yeah, this is a lot for me, but at the same time, it's something that I've wanted to do. And yeah, this is just me being genuine and being very open and honest. And yeah, hopefully you enjoy my podcast, even though it's not the normal standard format. But you know what? I have learned in the last couple of years, if you don't extend yourself and just try and be uncomfortable and try anyway, that you just never know how things would go. And that's certainly been a personal, not a motto, because I don't, it's like, sounds a bit corny. It's just something that if you just don't give it a crack, you just don't know. And what's the worst that could happen? I mean, people might watch this video and think it's shit, or the audio is shit, and I don't know, not listen to it at all, and laugh or whatever. I really couldn't give a shit. To be honest, I'm now where I am super proud that I have continued to record my podcast for the last 3 years and I'm still going. I'm even more proud of myself that I didn't chicken out, which, like I said, I was close to doing. I was going to chicken out and not come. But I'm very glad that I did come to this holiday destination with Samantha March and with the other girls and meeting the other girls. And I've also had plenty of time. But like I said, I will do a separate dedicated podcast about the trip with Samantha because to me, it deserves and warranted to do that. But today, I just really wanted to, see if I could actually follow through and do this. Because after 2 tequilas, I pretty much feel like they haven't even hit the sides, and yeah. There's that. So, what am I drinking? You know I love tequila. It is called the Tequila Hour. If you didn't know or never listened to this podcast before, hey. Yes, I love tequila. This is not a podcast about tequila. I get that question a lot, actually. Is this podcast about tequila? No, I'm not that. Look, would be kind of cool to do a podcast about tequila, but for me, I can't even remember. I think one day I was drinking, because I do like tequila. I was drinking it and I'm like, I really love YouTube, but I really, really love using my voice. And I wanted to use my voice more. And for me, the podcast format, arena, whatever you want to call it, world, was something that really attracted me. And yeah, I fell in love and the Tequila Hour was born. So it was a name that I came up with in a split second. I kept it, I created it, and created all the other shit that comes with that, you know. But no, this podcast is not about tequila, even though I do drink it a lot. I do drink gin as well, and other alcohol. Let's not talk about my alcohol. Could get messy. Yeah, you might hear a helicopter in the background. That's cool. Anyway, this is the weird thing about being outside, that there's going to be no filter. There's nothing. I can't edit. There is no editing today. Not that I edit my podcast a lot. I am mindful of saying particular words like a lot. So I do try to normally edit them out in production, like post-production. Today, there's none of that. So, like I said, it could be shit. So, just warning. No, it's not shit. You know what? I'm boiling. First of all, I'm boiling hot. So, if I look really sweaty, it's because I'm fucking hot. Secondly, because it's hot in Bali. Secondly, I actually wanted to really talk about the topic of my podcast today, which was titled Surrender. And the reason why, I will calm down in a second, it's just a lot. The reason why I titled that podcast, or this podcast called Surrender today, is, like I said, this was a big step for me to come here. And there's been a lot of things where I've had to really, and I've talked about this probably to nauseam on this podcast, where I've talked about things that I've had to work through, different feelings and emotions, and my relationship with people, my relationship with work, the relationship that I have with myself. And surrender is something that is a word or a thought that has come up quite often when you talk about things that you have to, if you are on a journey like myself. I don't even want to use, I don't know, it seems contrite to use the word journey, and I don't even know if I want to use that, but if you're on on a path, and I think that sounds nicer. If you're on a path where you really are into self-reflection and self-development and really wanting to learn more about yourself and then learn about the world and the world that you live in, all combined, then, like I said, surrender is something that as a thought and a feeling comes up quite often. And as I sit here, really today, this is a prime example of surrendering, where, I'm not going to lie, I am nervous, I'm still nervous, I'm starting to relax, which is nice. Where surrendering to not having everything perfect, not speaking perfectly, not having a script, not sounding the best, not having perfect visual lighting around you, or, not having the perfect lipstick or the perfect look, or, right now I think it's 11 o'clock in the morning here in Bali. I think we're 2 hours behind Australia. It's humid, it's bloody hot actually. I'm sweating like a pig. No, I am pretty sweaty, but it's not perfect, it's not controlled, it's just, you're having a crack. And the thing is, if you, first of all, is finding the things that you actually want to have a crack in, which has taken me some time to discover throughout my life, probably because I've been consumed with all the bullshit. And I really don't want to be consumed with all the bullshit anymore. It has taken me to a place in the last couple of years where I have had to explore a lot of things and then really trust and own what I want. And that's what really, for me, I'm talking about when I talk about surrender. I'm talking about the fact that, I think I've touched on this in the past. I like control. I like being in control. In a perfect situation, I wouldn't be sitting out here in an open beach house with an open microphone and possibly anyone coming up here right now and scaring the shit out of me and wondering what the fuck I'm doing holding a microphone and a camera. There's that. That's, for me, that's a big surrender where, I'm taking a chance to do something that, if you've listened to my podcast for the last 3 years, and I will say right now, and I always will say this, I'm very grateful to those who do take the time to listen to me and my ramblings and my thoughts and my feelings and what I'm going through, because to be honest, you don't have to. And for me, this is an open podcast where I will talk about things that, literally anything, I will talk about. So for me, like I said, surrender is the topic of discussion today. Surrendering to the fact that I'm not in control right now. I'm in control of holding the microphone and this fucking iPhone in my hand, which is getting quite heavy. Let me just swap hands. Let me see. That was weird. That it's not, there's the environment that I'm in right now. Could it be better? Possibly. And yet I'm still doing it anyway. And going on this trip, scared shitless. I was scared to, look, now I'm being a bit extreme. I don't know if I was scared shitless. I was really using as many excuses in my mind to kind of not come, let alone the fact that the week before I came to Bali, I got quite sick, and I'm still, you might hear that in my voice, still sound more nasally than normal because I do have a nasally voice. And I was I ever going to pikelet? No. Pike clothes, yeah. No. Was I ever going to pike out? No. I wasn't, because I really did want to stretch myself. Again, come to a foreign country that I've never been to, meet a group of women that I've never met, meet someone like Samantha March, which, like I said, deserves its own podcast. This is where it really is, I don't know, it's pushing your limits and doing it anyway. And I know, like I said, people talk about this all the time. You know, it sounds fanciful, and, you know, it sounds like, oh, I just do this and it's all glamorous and all the rest of it. No, this is just a me. This is just a person, a normal person, just trying to live the best life that they want and find the things that they want to do and do them, even though they're fucking scary and out there and not the normal, and doing them anyway. And it makes me think about a conversation that I was having the other night with, it might change hands multiple times throughout this podcast, because this phone should have brought, on reflection, a phone stand, but didn't. Anywho, the other night I was talking to a group of the girls, and we were talking about YouTube, and we were talking about coming on this holiday, and I was saying, and they also remarked as well, that I know for me personally, you know, I love YouTube. For anyone who, you know, if I start a conversation about YouTube, you know, and if you really are interested, I'll go on and on about it. I love it. As much as I love my podcast. No, probably more. I don't know. Yet, there's so many people that, you know, I interact on a day-to-day basis that probably wouldn't really or truly understand the level of admiration and how much I enjoy YouTube and the YouTubers that I follow, let alone the pure joy that I get from doing something like this myself and extending myself in this capacity, when, you know, I'm not doing it in any way, shape or form for, you know, the likes or the reels and all that. I'm doing it because it's just something that I truly feel compelled to use my voice through. And yeah, we were all remarking how in our day-to-day lives that most people don't truly understand this whole sphere, this whole YouTube world or podcast world, where, you know, you're sharing your life and you're talking about shit and you're being very open and vulnerable. And again, if you've listened to my podcast, there's sorry, I'm just getting distracted by a squirrel. Weird. There's many podcasts that I've done in the past that truly I have been very vulnerable and talked about subjects that are very challenging for a lot of people, and challenging for me to really discuss. Yet I've done it anyway. And when we talked about YouTube and we talked about, you know, coming across the world, because I mean, I'm with a group of Americans and some Canadians, and some of them have had to travel 30 hours to get here and to meet people they've never fucking met before. And to me, that's inspiring and exciting and inspirational and something I'm down for, where, you know, I don't, in my day-to-day world, talk about, you know, that connection. I don't know if it's because then I'm not extending myself out to others to then have those types of conversations, or that, you know, it's just, I know that's a side or a piece of the world that I live in, but it's not my entire world. And I think I've talked about that too, where, you know, you have your masks and you have your places where you know, sorry, I was like, who's that? Now I'm getting distracted by men up a pole, but I'm easily distracted if you haven't figured that out. That, yeah, it's, you know, we all have our different facets. That's the word I'm looking for, facets of our life. And why, one of the many reasons why I wanted to attend this is actually, you know, speak to women who I know or thought, and they do, have a very, you know, a similar interest to myself in reference to YouTube and the makeup beauty space. Even doing something like this where, you know, like I said, Samantha March is a content creator, so obviously she creates YouTube videos, but obviously does content on other platforms as well. For me, I wouldn't say in any way, shape or form I was a content creator. I actually think podcaster is something I'm very proud of and happy just to acknowledge as that. But yeah, it's one of those things where in normal day-to-day basis, you know, I'm not having these kind of conversations with people about, you know, what Rode microphone I'm buying or, you know, the latest, I don't know, version of Audacity. I don't know, shit like that. I don't know. And like, I'm now questioning maybe if I did, more people would understand me and perhaps they would then, I would understand them as well, because I really don't talk about my podcast very often with people who, you know, I spend most of my life with, separate from my husband, is my work colleagues, where, you know, we talk about work and shit, and, you know, we might talk about what we did on the weekend or whatever, but I'm not talking about my inspirations around me learning about, you know, as you know, quantum physics and entanglement and that's another podcast for another day, which I need to do one again about that, by the way, as a reminder. But yeah, just coming on here and doing something like this and speaking my truth and sharing my thoughts and feelings on a platform which, yeah, it's just so empowering to do that, even though it's fucking scary. And I really, you know, once upon a time, you know, not that I'm sitting here reflecting on my whole entire life and thinking, oh, you know, yada yada, because I'm kind of beyond that now. I've done a lot of that in the last couple of years. I'm now at the point where I just want to, like, I think I've talked about this, I just want peace, mate. I just want to do the things that come to mind and inspire me and challenge me, and I'll have a crack and then move on to the next thing. And yeah, that's what I'm doing, even though it's really challenging and scary and, yeah, not complicated, it's not the right word, but it's just when you, I don't know, I mean, some people might get to this point in their life a lot sooner than I did, but when you get to a point where you just like, fuck it, and look, yeah, there's a level of confidence, obviously, we've talked about confidence and value in oneself, etc., and getting to that place where, you know, you don't give a fuck about anyone else, you really start to give a fuck about yourself and what you want. It's really, surrendering for me is just not only about surrendering to the uncomfortableness, you know, surrendering to doing something that you just are afraid to do, but also just surrendering to believing in what might be as well. So when I talk about that as well, it's where, you know, these are conversations that, you know, if you want to talk into the spiritual And let's go there. Why am I even hesitating? Let's go there. I think I've touched on this in the past when I've talked about Japan and how important Japan is to me for many reasons. Anyone who's been to Bali or understands this place would know its spiritual underlining, I'm not going to say phenomena, it's not the word I'm looking for, essence, presence that undermines the country, Hinduism. I am really now acknowledging that apart from the control thing, it's just believing that there's more, and surrendering to that and just trusting that, yes, I can, if I want something, I don't know, the first thing that kind of came to mind is I want an ice cream. That was weird. If there's something that you want, you've got to make it happen. It's not going to magically happen. If you haven't figured that out yet, then, bitch, I'm helping you out right now. You might be lucky and, you might manifest something and it might just happen. All in all, bitch, you got to work. Okay, if there's something you want to work on and you want to do, you've got to make it happen. Number one. But when I talk about surrendering, I'm more talking about the fact that, that source, if it's God, if it's Hinduism, if it's, a tree, if it's spirit, if it's a higher being, I don't know what that is for you, but there is also that sense of just surrendering to not knowing everything and believing that, okay, everything will work out in the end as it should. I believe if you do that with an openness, with an open heart and an open mind, with grace, and humility, that whatever that force is for you, that it will help you. And that's also what I mean by surrender as well. I mean, would I say I'm a religious person? Yes. In what context do I need to label it? What's that? I was like, who's that? This is the thing. This is where the waters get muddy. Because so many of us, in my opinion, have to label shit, all right? It has to be labelled to understand it. We all know this. If you're in tune or you know your shit, you must understand where I'm coming from with this. Yes, I've got a double chin, get over it. That was weird. Yes, labelling. Religion, that's a big one. I'm not going to sit here right now and shit on any religion. I really don't want to get into that conversation today. What I do want to touch on, though, when I reference the term surrendering is, like I said, there's that want and the manifestation and the real premise of taking the time to think about the things that you want to do in your life and go with it, go for it, all of the above, and achieve it. There's that. But there's also that sense of, you can achieve as much or try to achieve as much as you want, and then there's that space, got a weird accent then, there's that space within time to let whatever you call in your religious theories, feelings, thoughts, all of the above. If you are someone who believes in that, to surrender in, I'm trying to achieve this, but there will always be, and there is, I acknowledge that element that, sometimes, it is what it is. You can't control everything. If you do, you will wear yourself out. You sometimes just have to surrender. Air brackets. Yeah, you just have to surrender and go, mate, if it works out, it works out. I mean, let's use a basic example. This week, like I said, I was about to tap out, truly. I was sick as a dog before I came here. There was moments where I was getting really anxious, to be honest, where I thought, I can't fucking fly on a plane for like 5 or 6 hours to a foreign country and, while I'm sick as a dog. And yeah, I was scared and I was anxious, and there was moments though where, knowing how much I really, really wanted to do this, that I said, I need help. And I will acknowledge that when I talk about help, I know I have a lot of tenacity and inner strength which will always get me through if I really believe in it, and I do. But I have to acknowledge that element in your life where, you will ask for help. May that be God for you, or may that be source, or may that be a star, or may that be a tree, whatever it is for you, where I'm just like, mate, I just need some help. Just get me through this, eh? Look, I'm a tough bitch, but, I need a little something. Oh, sorry, I'm not used to holding the phone, for how long I've been on for? Half an hour. Fuck all. What a loser. Need a stand next time. Remember that next time. Just going, I just need a little something. Like, I don't need you to carry me, but I really would appreciate some help here. And that's really hard to do if you've never really done it before or never believed in it. I can understand, like I said, I really don't want to make this a discussion about religion today. I'm happy to discuss religion anytime if anyone's interested in discussing it, or even wants to discuss it with me. I'm happy to go there. For me, I do believe there's a higher power, there's something. I don't know. I'm still trying to find out what that is. But I'm also at the same time open and excited to understand what that is. And when you have the courage to do that, if you've never really done it before, or you've touched on that in the past within your life, and for me, talking about something that to me is quite personal, and going, fuck it, I'll talk about it anyway. Yeah, it's a big deal. And don't be afraid to talk about these things. And these are not subjects that I talk about. I'm not sitting around the water cooler. We don't have one at work, but do we? No. I'm not sitting around with people that I know talking about religion. I'll be honest with you. All the concepts of what I'm doing very poorly at and trying to explain today, that you're just believing in an unknown force that you are trusting, that will help you and guide you in times that you might need help or support, or I don't want to use the word recognition, even though that's the word that comes to mind. It's just having faith in faith, I suppose. That's probably a way to describe it. Having faith in faith. And surrendering to that there is something there. And, and believing in it. Look, there can be times when, that's weird. There could be times where, I know, you're really struggling and you're like, fuck, just help me. Like, do you know what I mean? Just fucking help me. And I'm not saying don't use don't use or surrender to things like that just when you need fucking help. I mean, you can if that's what you only think the only purpose of faith is. Then I can understand that. But at the same time, I think it's broader than that in my knowing. And yeah, I really am surrendering to that. Surrendering to that there is something more. Sorry. That was weird. Yeah, that there is more. So I think it's really, I don't know why I find it really hard to talk about, to be honest. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't really talk about it at all, or there's people I do talk about religion or faith or spirit or things like that. Like I said, I really do get shitty with labelling of anything, to be honest. I don't know what my true gripe is around that. I'm really not going to explore that today. But I will say that, yeah, just to really get to a place for me, to get in a place of my life where I've really started to open up my heart, to be honest, and, trust in people, because that's one massive thing for me, but just to trust in a higher power. And I know if my husband listens to this, he'll be like, what the fuck? Look, I'm not talking about God, and if I was, who cares? What I'm talking about is that I know there's more, because like I said, quantum entanglement for me is something that I am truly, completely, unadulteratively, is that a word? No. Fascinated by it and trying to learn more about. And I don't know why we have to even give our permission to have these conversations, to be honest. I don't even know why right now. I mean, it's probably because I'm anxious and I'm doing something that, by recording this video, is very foreign for me, and being on camera, even though I'm holding a microphone, is very foreign for me. But yeah, I just think we all just need to fucking relax. Do you know what I mean? And just, it's okay if you, I don't know, if you want to pray every day hoping that it will rain, I don't know. What am I trying to say? I think it's just okay. It's okay just to believe in something that you don't understand or believe other people will believe you. Just as much as it's okay to be a podcaster or a YouTuber or anything else that people just don't understand or believe in. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not correlating YouTube with religion. Let's not get whack, shall we? What I'm saying, though, is that feeling of surrendering to something that you really don't understand. I suppose that's what I'm trying to get at. Surrendering to something you don't see. You can't see it, all right? If you want to talk about religion, I know if you feel the Holy Spirit and you see ghosts, we can go there, and we're not going there today. But all in all, what I'm saying is these are things that you don't see. They're not tangible. Like, it's not like, I mean, you might see God. I don't know if you do. If you listen to that podcast, my podcast or a podcast, and you see God, mate, let's talk. I don't. What I'm saying is believing in something that you just don't know is there, like you can't explain. Sorry, I thought someone was coming along. And doing it anyway, that's a big deal. And for me it is. I mean, for some people that mightn't be a big deal at all, surrendering to something like that, but for me it is. And yeah, I don't know why it's so difficult. I mean, it could be just a me thing. It probably is. It probably just is a me thing. Surrendering to something like this, or even doing a podcast about surrendering to an unknown force that I can't see and I can't really explain, but I know that's there and I know that helps me when I need it. How do you explain that to someone who mightn't understand that or have any spiritual alignment or understanding or I'm not even, to me I'm talking about spiritual alignment. I'm not even necessarily talking about religion. I mean, they're intertwined. Let's not get twisted, but yeah, just accepting what is for what it is and going with it and believing in it, because really the only person who needs to believe in it is you. The end. No. No. Yeah, I really think that we really just need to give ourselves some more grace. I really think that we need to take the time to shut out all the bullshit and all the noise and sit with oneself and really think about those things that you really want in your life, knowing that you can achieve them if you really want to. Like I said, it's not going to magically happen. You've got to make it happen. Yes, some things do happen. I honestly do believe that if you resign in a world of gratefulness and positivity and openness and, try to understand your fellow man and woman, try to have those open conversations and just listen, be kind and act with kindness, love with an open heart, see the beauty in everything around you, even like for me, I don't know, Elise, this bloody, sorry, I thought I heard something. Even something where, just believing in the beauty of everything that's around you, then I think, and there's so much more, but they certainly will bring you to a place where you will align to that spiritual alignment that will help you achieve the things that you want to achieve. If you prescribe to my way of life. No. No, I'm just joking. Truly, if you're going to be an arsehole, then you might struggle with achieving spiritual alignment. I really trust and believe that. If you want to be an arsehole, go for it. Just don't come near me. I think I'm going to leave it there today, because what are we at? We're at, I think there's someone in the background that could be listening to what I'm saying, so that's why I'm doing weird head movements, because I feel uncomfortable all of a sudden. Anyway, I'm going to leave this podcast here today. Thank you for anyone who does continually listen to my podcast. It does mean the world to me. I look forward to heading back to Australia very soon, in a couple of days. I look forward to doing another podcast about my trip here in Bali. And I look forward to doing many more podcasts and surrendering to what is, that is.